Hi, my name is Lydia Stromdward, and I'll be presenting my Interfaces project. And so for this app, I decided to go with a sleep app themed around sheep and dogs. So my idea was that a sheepdog guards the herd, so the user are kind of like the sheep wanting to go to bed. So I'll get into my app icon. For my app icon, I first started out with this tail motif that was in the shape of a moon, but it really wasn't working for what I was looking at. And so I decided to go with just the classic dog look with a fluffy dog S, which I think turned out adorable. As for my fonts, I really wanted something sleek and kind of like the Apple fonts. So for Darker Grotesque, I really think it has this modern, minimal look. And for Articulate, I think it has a similar vibe, but also a little bit more of a classic look. As for my colors, I wanted something to be super minimal and also a little bit into the beige aesthetic that's been really popular lately, and I thought that this interface would look beautiful on an Apple Watch considering the colors that it comes in. I really like the starlight color, so I thought that this color would complement that really well, and it also complements a classic black too. And as you can see from my mood board, I want it to be very cozy, a very slept in and warm feeling, like you're just getting into a nice soft plush bed when you open the app. As for my comparative audit, I compared it to 4 different apps. I compared it to Go to Sleep, Sleep, Auto Sleep, and REM, and I found that a lot of them did have sleep tracking and sleep stages and alarms, but mine was the only one that had a wind down feature. And I thought a wind down feature is really important personally to me, because when I'm trying to go to bed, I find it really hard to actually fall asleep. And I thought that a wind down feature that helps you get your breathing under control and also make you sleepy would be really helpful in a sleep app. And here are the features for the Apple Watch. It has a bedtime that can be taken from the sleep app or via iPhone. It also has your sleep stages, so you can know what stages you spent during the night. It has your sleep data in a neat graph so that the user can easily see which days they slept better and which days they slept worse. And the user is also able to set multiple reminders such as bedtimes, wind downs, and sleep goals, also as well as alarms. They can set alarms in the apps that will wake them up at their specified times using the alarms that are already in the Apple Watch. Here's a user flow diagram of how a user would go through the story of using the wind down setting. As you can see, they open the app, they go to the data page, that always has this clock icon in the corner. It takes them to the settings, the user selects the duration, it takes them to the wind down page, they use the wind down bar, and they do their breathing exercise and finish. And here are my interfaces. As you can see, the one with the graph is the main screen, and the user can scroll across it and the sheep will move along with it, and it gives them an easy way to look at their sleep data. As for my secondary screens, we have this one in the corner, which shows the user what their actual sleep stages were like, and it shows them the percents that they spent in each stage. It's not too complicated because I really wanted the user to just be able to look at it and see what they did throughout the night. As for the settings, we have multiple settings that the user can scroll through and select, setting alarms, setting reminders, and also doing the wind down. And here's my screen specifications. It specifies the typography sizes, the type of typography to use, the colors, and also the animations. And here's a mock-up of how the screen would look with a black Apple Watch. I think it looks very sleek and minimal, just how I wanted it to. And another one where I think the graph just looks great. And here is how the animation works, so I will let you watch this. So as you can see, it has the scroll bar and the sheep goes along with it. And then we have our sleep stages. And you select that button and you can scroll down and look through your settings. And here's also another example of the animation. As you can see, it is very user-friendly, and I think it fits perfectly for the Apple Watch. And here we're getting into the Vision Pro. So for the Vision Pro, I really wanted a more interactive space, so I have a counting sheep motif that we can see later on in the presentation. And I included sleep stages again, but this time it's a much more complex view. So this is when you're going to sit down and really look at those sleep stages, whereas on the Apple Watch, you're just getting a quick overview of it. And so we have like a very complex view of that data. The sleep stages are very specific, as you can see the amount of time that you spent in them and also what exactly they mean. And as for the sleep data chart, it'll also show your sleep stages per day so that you don't have to go to those pages if you don't want to. You can also set reminders in the app that will remind you on your Vision Pro. For example, if you're using it at nighttime, it'll remind you that maybe you should go to bed soon. And it of course has that wind down feature of counting sheep, which we will get to in the next part. Here's the user story that I use for the Apple Watch. It is almost the same, except for the user has to scroll down instead of pressing the icon. As for the Vision Pro interface, we have this beautiful graph here where you can see the sleep stages per week and it tells you how much you spent in them. And then you can see the sleep stages laid out where it specifically tells you, and when you click on them, it'll tell you specifically what they mean. And for the settings, I thought it would be redundant to add a separate page just for the settings, so I have this little cog in the corner where you can select it, and this window will pop up and you can scroll through the settings. And I will show you how that looks. As you can see, I have the 3-minute wind down prompt and the user will select it and the counting sheep will start. Here's my specifications that just specifies the same thing as the Apple Watch, the type of headers to use, the fonts to use, the colors, and also the animations. And here is a mock-up of how the screen would look. I think it looks fantastic on the Vision Pro. And here's the animation. See, we have the jumping sheep motif. And it also shows you your stages. And here's a laid out view of that, as well as your settings that pop up. And you select wind down, and the jumping sheep will start. As you can see, it counts your inhale beats and your exhale beats. And that is the end of my interfaces project. I hope you enjoyed. Thank you.